Hello and welcome back to Mr. Excalibur. My name is Arthur, and today we are looking at the Hana Katana from Dragon King. Now, I'm actually going to make this relatively short and sweet because this sword, its benefits and its good points are very straightforward. And to be honest with you, there's been some other folks that have done some very nice reviews of the sword. Not really sure I really have any more to add to it other than, kind of just sharing with you, my viewers and those who have subscribed. Thank you very much. And just kind of showing off what I got. Well, this is almost like a, a haul. Hey guys, look what I got. And kind of here's what I think about it. Sword was good price, between $300 and $400. Sword cut very nicely, nice blade, fits in the saya very nicely. Let me get it in here. No saya rattle. Very, this is nothing compared to like Hanway rattle or anything like that. Nice silver shidodome pieces in both this nice larger capped Kashira, which I understand is from some Edo period swords. Nice silver habaki. Let's put this back here. The nice silver habaki seppas, as typical with some of the things from Dragon King. This is their Hana katana, and Hana means flower. We have some very simple flower references in on the design of the sword. Nice hamon, nice polish over it. Doesn't look overly frosted. The saya has actually got some, actually nice weight to it, which suggests that, there's something a little bit more substantial about it. This is a good example of everything good about Dragon King that I have seen and heard over the years. And that is something that is, very basic, just like a lot of Hanways, but with just a little bit extra, a little je ne sais quoi, a little something extra, just that little extra splash that makes it unique, that makes it fun, that makes it quite honestly worth getting versus, another one of the practical series. Not to take anything from the practical series, they're good, they've, been around forever, and a lot of people swear by them, but this is kind of nice from an aesthetics point of view because it's just got something a little extra. As I mentioned, little shidodome pieces right here on the Kuragata. They're fixed in. There are a lot of swords at this price range where they throw those in there and they flop around like crazy. Sageo cord's a little on the cheap side, but you know what? You can easily get heavier Sageo cord that goes with this. This is kind of, and I know the camera is not going to pick this up, the color on the side is kind of a very, either, I'm slightly colorblind, either very deep red or very deep brown. It's not black, so whatever you're seeing on the screen right now is not exactly it. It's got a slightly brownish reddish tinge to it, which is, it's like I said, it's just a little extra something that's fun when you get these Dragon King swords. Another thing that I really liked about it was it's got just a little bit of weight at the end of the blade. And what that's really nice for is having that extra momentum coming into the cut, but not having too much to where you're going to have trouble recovering. So it's a nicely designed, nicely engineered sword. This sword's got a nice T10 blade, sharp right out of the box. You guys will see that in the unboxing footage, and it cut really nicely. Again, if you're looking for something that's kind of an all-around just nice sword that's not going to break the bank, I think this is kind of really, this is a really safe bet. And so enjoy the unboxing footage, enjoy the cutting. I have included some clips here from some of my colleagues here, just so we get kind of a nice consensus overall on this really nice piece, and a bit of a surprise from Dragon King, the Hana Katana. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next time. Bye for now. Alright, this is the unboxing of the Hana Katana by Dragon King. And the reason why it's such the big box is actually I got this from Cult of Athena this time around, and I got it along with another sword that I've also reviewed. So they came at the same time. Now, both Dragon King and Hanwei tend to package their stuff up very similar. We have the smaller box in here with all the normal accoutrements inside. And so we've got the sword packaged inside that we'll take a look at here in just a sec. Now, interestingly enough, and that is, this came to me all wrapped in this package wrapping versus what I normally see, which is styrofoam or cushioning on the inside. I don't know if that means that they're changing how they wrap these swords or how they cushion them when they're coming in. I'm not really sure, but that's how it showed up. I think it's important to show how these things arrive to the customers and how they are prepped and how they are, shipped off. And this is generally what I see inside. So in a plastic wrap, it came inside a sword bag. The sword came inside the saya, and that's how it was packed up, how I got it. The sword bag that it came with, interesting thing, Dragon King always makes their sword bags just a little bit on the heavier side, which is nice. It's a nice little perk that you often get with these Dragon King swords. Some of the sword bags I've gotten from other sword companies often tend to be awfully cheap. So the sword right out of the box felt really nice. As I mentioned in the preview, a little bit of weight toward the blade. That's nice for cutting. Obviously not too heavy, but it had a very nice natural feel in the hand. I wish there were other kinds of non-subjective terms to try and describe this, but that's how it came to me. The sword did come with some oil on it, which is always nice to see. These things are coming from a manufacturer quite a ways away, so it's always nice to see that they are coming, prepped and properly stored. One of the nice things that I found was that it fit very nicely into the saya. However, I did notice that right out of the box, the saya had been fitted with a shim. And I noticed that it was already prepped to fit a little bit better in the saya. This is a nice kind of detail of the saya. It's got kind of that rounded buffalo cap at the end of the sword, which is nice. Now here's where the details on this sword really kind of show through. These little flower designs on the ironwork are really nice, and is that extra kind of thing that we see with this flower design coming with the Hana Katana. On a lot of people's other footage, we don't quite see the hamon. of the blade. On this one, I think we caught it a little bit. Here's a nice up close of the handle, very simple tsuba with a little bit of the flower design cast right into the tsuba, nice rounded over with a little bit of a bevel behind the rounded edge. Makes it very comfortable in the hand. That Kashira is actually one of the nicest features of this sword in that it's unusual. It's different than a lot of your standard swords, especially at this price range. Now, of course, the standard, whether or not this is going to cut paper, and sure enough, it slices right through it. We've got a good initial cutting of the sword, which is really nice. So initial impressions of the sword right out of the box was that it handled nice, it fitted Saya very well. It looked like there was already some modifications that had been done to it. I don't know, maybe that was done at the factory. But some really nice impressions of the Hana Katana by Dragon King right out of the box. And just a nice feeling sword do. Alright, going to be looking over what two other people have done when it comes with this sword, namely, first of all, Katana FanBoy. Katana FanBoy apparently really liked this sword because he ended up doing like 3 videos of it, and I don't know, maybe he's done even more. He went through some unboxing footage here. He's taking a look at it, getting it out, taking a look at it. Was pretty amazed at the attention that he spent looking at this particular model. He's looked at Dragon King swords before, but this one really seemed to be catching his attention. And overall, throughout his unboxing, and then he did a full review, and then he did a separate just cutting video with it as well, and really showed that he really enjoyed it. He thought it was a good buy. One of the things that he noted in a lot of his videos was that the hamon on the sword really was very faint and very subtle. One of the other things that he showed off when he showed this is from the review that he did later on after the unboxing. As you can see, he's done some modifications to it. He has taken off some of the blackening. I don't want to call it a patina because I'm not really sure what the process is. But he did remove some of the blackening from some of the ironwork to expose the steel underneath. So obviously it's not iron, it's some kind of blackened steel underneath that Dragon King used for this design. Now, one of the cool things that some of these other reviewers do that I don't, and that's why I usually put it in my review to show it off, is because they've done the work that I haven't, and that is to take it apart. Oftentimes, Matthew Jensen talks about how he takes some of his swords apart just to see if they will come apart. And in this one, Katana FanBoy did that, kind of highlighting the different parts and the different elements of the sword, showing what it looked like, and also showing off what he did with it. One of the things that he notes is that he's found that the kagos of Dragon King swords tend to be a little bit on the lighter side versus other manufacturers, which would give credence to the kind of the overall impression of Dragon King swords, is that they generally are lighter builds. One of the things that he also testified to the fact that it was the one he got was very nicely sharp right out of the box, and he was doing various cuttings with it, some water bottles. Here he's doing some tatami mats, and he found that the sword cut very well and was very pleased with it. And overall, at the end of the day, his assessment was that for the money, for the buy, it really is quite a nice sword. Our next reviewer that covered this sword was the Dynamo sword reviewer. And he took a very, very different spin on it. He goes into some history as to the design of the sword. He really gets into the design mostly of the ironwork, the Fushikashira and the Suba, and kind of the style that Dragon King was aiming for when creating the sword. One of the things he talks about also is he kind of confirms what I've said and what Katana FanBoy said, was that it's an awfully good buy. It's an awfully good sword for the buy, for the asking price. And all these guys and myself got this for somewhere between $300 and $400. He also talks about the dimensions and some of the aspects of the build. And one of the things that I wanted to say when it comes to dimensions of these swords is this is a factory standard, what they put on websites. What you get is very rarely going to be exactly that, even within these same brands, even with same models. And that's because there is a lot of handmaidenness when it comes to these swords. Now, one of the other comments that he makes here that I want to kind of expand on is he talks about the T10 steel that's used as being simply a Chinese version of 1095. It's a little oversimplified. In reality, T10 actually utilizes tungsten, which actually makes it slightly tougher, slightly more scratch resistant, and also adds a degree of hardness to the blade that allows it to harden easier, deeper, and better. Alright, my turn cutting with the Hana Katana from Dragon King. This sword was really nice to cut with. It had a very natural feel. It was balanced the way I would think a katana is supposed to be balanced. Light, but with some weight, very much toward the tip, but also very easy to recover, very nice in the hand, drew very easily from the saya. It had a little bit of a clip, I guess you could say, in the saya, and then they'd already put a shim inside the saya. So when I returned the sword to the scabbard, I noticed that it would bump just a little bit. But once inside, very nice and secure and very quiet. Very easy to draw. Nice sword for Iaido if you're looking at something to practice drawing with, that you're also going to practice cutting with. Just a nice overall feel. The sword had a nice overall dynamic to it as far as moving it around, its point of balance, how easy it was to cut with and move around. Really did enjoy working with this. And it's a sword where you're not having a great deal of flair, and quite honestly, surprisingly well weighted for a sword in the price range, where sometimes that's not the primary concern of the manufacturers. We're looking at just, getting something out there into the market. One of the things that I have found with Dragon King swords, and this sword was no different, was that they do come very nicely, serviceably sharp right out of the box. And I started right in with some harder plastic bottles, and it sliced right through them. So enjoying the new sword stand still, as of course. Okay, went a step up. This is one of the harder ones to hit. Was really bracing for it, and whoosh, got right through it. Was really having a fun time with this thing. Now, the milk bottles, as I've said many times before, aren't really a challenge for any kind of sharpened implement. But to practice, precision cutting, that was where these things come in. And that's a new draw cut that I've been practicing. And just showing you, you could just shave the sides right off of it and really get your money's worth out of each one, out of each bottle. So I was really enjoying cutting with the sword. Was trying a drop cut here to see if it would work. See if I can get a static cut with it from the top down. Almost could do it. Still working on that one. All right, this is always an interesting one. These bottles tend to be a little bit lighter and heavier plastic, so it's a little bit harder to cut them off. But this sword did it. It really was quite fun to work with. All right, one more easy one here, and we'll put this one to bed. Yeah, it was fun. Cutting with this thing was really a joy. Didn't see any damage of it. Pieces of it all stayed together just fine right out of the box. And so that's really fun. T10 blades are high carbon steel. So one of the things that I've always gone over is when you're cutting through these water bottles, you don't know what else has been in them or what kind of residue is in them. So as soon as you're done, it's not just a matter of wiping off the water. You need some kind of solution or something to actually clean the blade, which is what I use here to clean it, lubricate a little bit, and have it to play with again another day.